And hello, Savannah. Thank you for tuning in to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And thank you for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer and Daniil Ivanov in the studio. Say hi to Savannah.
Hey, Savannah.
And we also have Daniil's mom here with us actually today.
Yeah, she's going for the books. We kind of took her with us.
We took her with us, but she doesn't have a microphone, so...
Yeah, she came from Germany on the way for my niece's graduation to New Mexico State.
Yay.
Shout out to Annabelle.
Shout out. And thank you for tuning in any case. And like I already mentioned, our show here has to do with real estate investing specifically. We are local real estate investors here in Savannah, Georgia, and in other states around Georgia, South Carolina, specifically Florida. I do work also in Nevada and in
New York.
Where is it? New York? Well, we've looked at New York. New York's kind of useless.
Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah, that's a little bit more like it. Yeah, Indiana. I have a student right now who's looking into Indiana, and also a student actually from New York looking to come down to Georgia and look around a little bit. So we have a little bit of a wide reach up and down the East Coast, a little bit out west, and we try to make money with real estate. That's what our show is about. We teach you some of the things that we learn, and hopefully you don't do the same mistakes that we do, because that's how we learn.
I know, I said it before. Just like, don't get the same scars we do.
Right. We're taking it for the team lots of times, and we're sharing our stories. And on today's show, we actually just got back from New York. On today's show, we're going to just give you a little bit of an update. Of course, the problems don't ever stop when we're gone. So as soon as we get back, we got Code Compliance on our backs again. Thank you, Code Compliance in Savannah.
Shout out to you guys.
Shout out to you guys. Yeah, we had you guys on the show before. But we're going to share our story on that again today. And after this, we will be heading and remedying the Code Compliance issues that we're going to talk about. So let's play a little bit of music. That's what we do in between of our segments here, and we'll be right back.
And what you got ready for us?
I don't know. I'm just gonna play.
Just gonna play.
Wake up for everybody to wake up. So stay on. Don't go anywhere. Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. I'll be right back.
Bye.
That was Light by Jerome. I just found that this morning. Hope you liked that. And thank you for staying with us here on Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer, Daniil Ivanov. So we're going to talk today a little bit more about code compliance, because we are being ambushed, I think, by some neighbors.
And it's not the first time.
It's not the first time.
Ready.
So now we're ready to fight back. So this is actually not, this is a little bit of a, well, you know what? Let me do this first before I do anything. Viewpoints expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of WRU, its license holder, or its staff. Sometimes we're very opinionated on the show, so I want to make sure that we don't drag the whole station into the dirt here.
We're not lawyered up, but our lawyer will thank us for that.
Yes. So this is our opinion. So we actually, let me just give you a little bit of a backstory. So we actually had on the show here before, and you can also listen to that show on YouTube and on WRUU.org. There's under archives a show that I had recorded with the code compliance, the chief of code compliance here in the city of Savannah actually came into the show here, and I think it was like years ago. I gotta look it up when that was, but
he can come over again and tell us maybe some changes in the city. That's again always invited.
We can definitely invite him, and it took me a while to get him in here, because we had there was actually a code compliance department, and we had him here on the show. His name is Kevin Milton, and he was here to tell us. I think maybe we need to. There's like some
somebody was a big subwoofer
going on out there. Yeah. Anyways, so Kevin Milton was here on the show. He was brand new at the time. I think he's been in office for a couple of years now. But this was 2 or 3 years ago that I recorded the show, and he kind of just gave us updates on what the code compliance department does, how they work, how many people are there, how the process works of somebody calling in an issue, and then the code compliance officer going out, examining the problem, and then the person will get written up. Anyway, it took a long time for me to understand the process, and at the time, my issue was that I was buying a lot of tax sale foreclosures in town, and they're all very less than properly maintained homes and gardens. So a lot of the ones that I bought had been abandoned for quite some time. So there was trash, people were dumping things. The houses themselves a lot of times were not boarded up. There was safety issues,
Or
possibility.
just the building looking kind of not painted.
Yeah,
because
and there's
Savannah tried to get
exactly. So if you have a building, obviously that needs repairs, it needs to be boarded up so people can't go and just squat in there. So there's a lot of different rules about code compliance. It's not just about the maintenance of the buildings. There's also the yard. Part of it is also how you can and cannot park your cars, even if it's on your own property. This is what we learned.
Yeah.
Signs
Siding.
too, siding and
Even-
signs like real estate, like
the new
signs
one
on. I believe
with
it's
the address. That the address needs to be shown. That
right.
was
No,
interesting.
actual yeah, and that too. That's part of the building, but also signs that people can put out in your yard for advertising political campaigns, for example, or real estate signs. There's this proper way to do it and a not proper way to do it. There's a lot of rules and regulations, obviously. And you can go on the code compliance website. Actually, I have pulled it up, City of Savannah, and it is savannah.gov and /516/code-compliance or slash, no, it's actually not slash, dash compliance. And it will have information about abandoned and derelict vehicles, abandoned shopping carts. There's actually ordinance for that as well. Exterior property ordinance, real estate sign regulations, and residential parking ordinances. There's actually 5 documents that I saw. I actually looked at this yesterday on what you can and cannot do in the city of Savannah, within the city limits, mind you. So, which brings us to our topic. So, as you know, if you have listened to my show in the last couple months, probably like in the last year, we're nearing a year on this project now. And that's a whole nother story. It shouldn't have taken this long, but, you have to go back and listen to my old shows. But we do have a house that we're trying to remodel right now. It's a duplex. It's fairly large. And from what I understand, it's actually not within city limits. So it's right on the border. However, I do believe, and I'm not even sure about this, we need to check up on this. Is this the city that's going out and keeps writing us up, or is it the county? Because that's actually kind of important to know. Because the city is only
That was the same truck. There was a white truck and they knew us.
Okay. They knew me specifically.
You knew you specifically. And they knew every address.
Every one of my addresses, yes, of course.
But if they knew 37th Street, I would say it was a city. It was the same white truck. Was a green city of.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be my first step. Is if this property is actually within city limits, we've got some digging to do. But what basically is happening? Let me just give you guys the update here. You who are listening out there.
you
who are listening. You all out there, y'all. So
we're talking about
we have a construction site, basically an active construction site. Things are not done, obviously. People do throw trash in the yard. Unfortunately, I don't monitor that, or we're actually going to go there today, pick it up. But we
can't really, because there is like people who don't just go by the street and just throw like liquor bottles in that's kind of type of neighborhood, and stuff blows in there, but we're not there every day because it's under construction.
Right. And we did have 2 dumpsters, and I believe the contractor we had hired at the time had ordered 1 dumpster that was filled up pretty much immediately,
24 hours,
with the whole neighborhood's trash.
Yeah.
And I did even tell him, like, if you're going to put a dumpster there, you need to put some sort of cover or fence around it, because people are going to put stuff. So he ordered a second one, and it was
And it
also
still will
filled
fill
up,
up.
and they
And
couldn't.
then the mattresses start arriving around the building.
Yeah, they started to just pile up furniture around my building, and we don't have security. And this is, I'm not even joking, you guys out there listening. I don't have security cameras there yet because we don't have any power yet. We're working on that. But people were actually coming by and depositing their old furniture around my house. Like, I couldn't even believe it. There was mattresses. There was a full bedroom set, like a wooden, heavy.
Yeah, and before the construction started, there was no issue. But as soon as the dumpster showed up, it was a dump site at this point.
Right, exactly. And so I saw the neighbor across the street, and I said, hey, do you know anything about these mattresses? And he's like, oh, yeah, there was a guy here. He said it's all right, and he'll come pick them up later.
Right.
Later never came, my dear
Yeah,
listeners.
I leave my business card with the phone number.
So if you want some, free furniture, just set up a
put the dumpster
construction.
out there.
Yeah, put a dumpster. What else did we get out of that dumpster?
We got the very old TV, which I got set up.
Black
the black
and white TV. It's cool,
And
yeah.
antenna picks up like couple channels, but it's very like antique and pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's got one of those glass, those
like round one, like
round
the lamp.
Yeah, I mean, why
like
why would you throw that in the dumpster? Take it to a antique shop. You probably could get
and it
some.
works.
It works. We got it. We fished
And
it
it's
out.
pretty cool. It got like the sound and like you switch the channels
Yeah,
weirdly. You find
exactly.
it like the
It's
waves,
kinda
I guess,
cool, yeah.
whatever.
So, but anyways, we're getting sidetracked. But anyways, getting back to the point is somebody, I don't know who it is of the neighbors.
Shout out to you too.
Shout out to you all because we're going to find out who you are. Trust me, because I'm working on that and I have a plan. But somebody
And again, not
has
being
nothing to do
Yeah.
all day long to just look out the window and notice that there is some trash in the front yard. It's not even that much because we actually cleaned up most of it. And of course, you tell the story because you were there when the compliance officer showed
pretty
up.
much I was I was driving around. We have a property on 37th Street, and I was just cutting the grass up there, and just pretty much cleaning the yard. And my mom was with me, and I was just showing her our world. And we stopped by 48th Street. So, and the first thing I saw the code compliance officer across the street just sitting up there, and I was like, okay, that's fine. So I parked next to the building, like drove into the grass where around the building where I usually park, and walked around. I showed my mom the duplex. We're coming outside, and the officer's like, are you the owner? I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, here's the thing. We had a phone call. You got reported for, and then he started pointing out grass overgrown. I was like, okay, well, that's, it happens because we're not often up there. And it's summertime. So I was like, okay, I'll take care of it. It's not like overgrowing. It's not like Vietnam. It's just, a little bit overgrown. And, but then he started pointing out things I didn't know. He started talking about siding of the building on the rooftop. He was like, you gotta paint that. And I was like, yeah, we are under active contract. We're rebuilding stuff. He was like, well, that window doesn't look, very pleasing. And I was like, again, the building is under construction. What do you want me to do right now? Mm-hmm. And so pretty much two major things he's going to give us the violation. It's not the ticket. It's like a warning, which we have 20 days to fix. First of all was the overgrown grass and the trash, which the trash I can't control. It's literally those little, airplane bottles of liquor.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that kind of neighbor. We're trying to get the house back into shape. Like, come on, people.
But I can control it. There was like 5 little bottles laying like on our grass. I was like, what, do you want me to stop by every day and pick up somebody's it's not a livable house. And so anywho, so the grass he wants to get cut, and I was like, not a problem, we'll take care of it. But then what the violation was for is there was no numbers on the address numbers itself. Pretty much the numbers for unit 1 and unit 2.
I'm gonna look. Actually, I think there are numbers. They just painted them over. And
It's
you can't
painted
see them
over,
from the
but
street.
that's what he said. You can see it from the street. That's a
Well, he can't see it.
He can see, but
I
no,
can.
he said, I see it's painted over, but that's a violation. That numbers needs to be seeable. And I was like, but we haven't painted yet. We might change the door. We might change the frame of the door. And he was just like, well, it still needs to be a number. I was like, oh, well, today I guess we're gonna put the stickers.
Yeah, I'm gonna stencil some numbers, and that's my plan here.
Just take a Sharpie, I guess, write
Yeah.
it on the door.
Theoretically, yeah,
that's what he said. It needs to be seen. And then, even though he saw me parking, he saw me walking around, and I introduced myself and I introduced my mother to him. And he still went, and he was like, you parked illegally. And I was like, man, like, you saw me just like, I'm just for a second showing my mama house. So apparently 10 feet from the city street, you can park on the city street, but you cannot park next to your building unless you're 10 feet away from the city street.
unless it's paid.
Unless it's a driveway. Just FYI up there. And the tickets ads, how he told me, he thought he was funny. I didn't quite get it, the joke, but he was just like, well, if you're gonna rent this place, tell your attendants tickets add up. And I was like, okay, haha. It's like, awesome, thanks a lot.
Yeah, this will be a call I'm gonna be making
So
to the code compliance.
and pretty
head
much
guru.
somebody watching us and saying,
This has happened before. They've done this a couple times, and I don't know who it is.
but we own it.
But
Shout out whoever you are.
Whoever you are, we will find who you are, and there will be payback to be paid, because nobody messes with Julia without payback. And on top of that, 2 Russians, man, you got to come in.
No, and I will concur on this one.
Yes, absolutely. But also, it's not a threat. We're actually going to try to find out what the hell's going on, because obviously somebody either has too much time on their hands or they have another issue. And we need to get to the bottom of this. But the other thing about the parking, let's get back to the parking here for a second.
Yeah.
We actually went, as you were telling me this, because I was working on another project, and you got back to the office and you were like, okay, this and this happened. And I'm like, okay, well, which house do you think is the one that called in? So we go on Google Maps and we look at Google Maps.
It is funny. Yes, it is.
And 2 of our immediate neighbors are parking their cars exactly the same way.
And it's on Google Maps.
It's on Google Maps. There's a picture of it. It's not even... It's not blurred out.
I didn't take a
or
picture
anything.
or anything. Like,
exactly.
It's from February or something. It's the pictures by Google Mobile.
Google took these pictures and put them on the internet, like for the whole world to see. But we're getting a warning, and they're not. Also,
by the way, when I was talking to him about how I parked, the guy was like right across.
Parking the exact same
like
way.
his bumper was hanging on the street. He didn't say a word about it.
Because nobody called it in. That's why.
That's why we need to call it.
Well, I actually did. And here we go. Going back to the story. So I wrote down every single address that is of all the houses immediate around us. And I called the compliance and I said, look, you guys, I'll keep coming out to my house. Why don't you examine everything around me as well? So I want you to come look at the cars, the building maintenance, if there's any trash in the yard. I mean, I want you guys to look at every single one. And the lady was, she was trying to be cordial, but she was kind of snotty, quite honestly. And I can say that because I read my disclaimer. Code compliance lady that answered the phone was not nice. She basically said, well, you just have to give me the address. And I'm like, well, this one address is 505 and 507. She's like, which one? And I'm like, it's a duplex. It's one building. There's one parking spot for the whole duplex. I don't know which one. Well, you have to pick one. That's exactly how she was talking to me. I mean, I'm sorry to say, if City of Savannah employees are listening to this, you guys need to, get a little bit better with customer service, And
go to Chick-fil-A, learn from them.
Well, yeah, exactly. There you go. And on top of that, I filed a request for open records. And I basically am going to look every time I was written up for anything. I'm asking for all the documents on all those, because when somebody calls it in, they can do so anonymous, obviously, but they can also leave their name and number. And I
Which
want
we have nothing to
I
write.
want to see the reports. I want to see who's calling in these code compliance violations on an active construction site. I want to see this. Because if it's none of the neighbors, then, they're off the hook one more time, but I need to know who it is. Because we have other enemies, I think. I think we do.
I told you, like, she gets on the mission. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't give her a bone. She's like a pit bull.
I don't start fights, though. I don't never start fights.
She finishes them.
I will finish them, and you better believe they're finished. If you start something and you don't finish it, it will be finished. Anyways, we're at the bottom of the hour, dear people, listening to Real Estate Real Talk. I'm having a lot to say on this show, even though I thought I was about to fall asleep because we just had lunch. But I have a lot to say. And we're at the bottom of the hour, so I'm going to play some more music. And we'll be right back after this. So please stay on. Don't go anywhere. That was Momus. The name of that song, A Complete History of Sexual Jealousy, Part 17 to 24. I dug that up from my old tapes.
Is this the label of some adult movie?
No.
Part 17?
To 24.
Sexual jealousy?
Yeah, that's what the name of that song is. I
it.
found it in one of my old tapes the other day. So anyways, you are listening to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer and Daniel Ivanov here in the studio. We do have a fundraising event going on right now, so I'm going to play a couple announcements for that. Right back after that, talking about code compliance here in the city of Savannah. So stay on. And this is Julia with Real Estate Real Talk again. Daniel Ivanov also here in the studio. We're talking about code compliance today and the fact that somebody has it out to get us on it. And I actually think it's the lady next door with the magnolia tree. We have a lady, older lady.
We ain't scared. It's not the first time.
Yeah, so I actually plan on going and knocking on the door there today and kindly ask her if I can cut down the part of her tree that's hanging over my building. If I can cut it down, because somebody keeps calling into code compliance and making our lives miserable. And I'm basically going to, talk to her and see her reaction to see if it's her. Because if she did it, then...
Well, it's a plan A. Yeah. Plan B was just directly, blindly in the face. Like, did you call in?
I'm going to call that. I'm going to call her out if that's what... And, and I have a feeling that's who it is. Because it's the only one that actually... maintains her place really nicely. Everybody else, I think, could care less. And maybe she just doesn't like that eyesore anymore. But, I mean, like, we're working on it. Like, please give us a break. Anyways, so that was code compliance. I've had lots of run-ins with code compliance before just because of the nature of the properties that I buy. And so if you want to get into tax sale foreclosure investing or...
Get ready.
Get ready to deal with...
You will know all of them. And they will know you.
They will know me. And you even said that when the code compliance officer came out and you introduced yourself, he kind of gave you a weird look. It's like, you don't look like... And
yeah, because he was like, what's your name? And I was like, Daniel Ivanov. And he was just like, And I was like, yeah. He was like, He was like, what address your business is? Like, and I was like, well, it's on the Whitmarsh. And he was like, are you Julia Spencer? I was like, yeah. I was just like, so he knew exactly. And he started calling all the digits of all the buildings we own. And I was like, yep, that one, ours.
Yeah.
So he knew everything.
So I guess I'm...
You under the loop?
I'm under the loop everywhere. Yeah. I also got a message, by the way, from from the district attorney's office of Chatham County as well. I'm also on their radar to continue or to, I guess I still have to pay more taxes on the short-term vacation rental tax thing from 2 years ago, which they started collecting automatically, which they're not collecting anymore. No, they do still, well, not from me. They're not collecting it automatically from me anymore because I don't have any more short-term vacation rentals. Everything that we have is over 30 days. And so we don't owe anything right now. So they're probably like, well, how come, all this revenue just dried up all of a sudden? So, but
yeah, so maybe start thinking about the like a nickname or aliases, like Mysterio, like in South Park.
I don't know.
Like,
Maybe I need to. Yeah, maybe I need to start coming up with something because I'm a little bit too visible here. And here's another thing too. When we were just recently in New York, and were able to meet with some people that are interested in investing here in the South, in Savannah specifically, maybe even Hilton Head, South Carolina, but for sure Georgia. And specifically, one lady that I spoke to was very interested. She, I guess, has some money coming her way, inheritance or something, and she actually wants me to teach her how to look at tax sale foreclosures or foreclosures in general, and to find out basically the gems in the many, because you can make a lot of mistakes, lose a lot of money with that too, and that's what I do. I do consulting. And I told her I can teach you right here in Chatham County whenever we have a tax sale coming up, but I don't personally buy in this market anymore. For starters, is because it's just grown. And I basically created my own competition, because the people that I've taught live here, and the people that have listened to my videos and my channel and listened to my audiobooks, they've learned how to do it here.
Be careful what you wish for. Your own success is your own failure.
It pretty much is. I do go to these tax sales, and I'm recognized by people I don't know. They're like, "Oh, I've seen your YouTube channel." It's like, "Oh, so nice, don't know you." But you're bidding against me, I created. So we do have to go to other, and I don't mind, I like to share knowledge. That's how I'm different from most people that are in the business. They're kind of like closed up and don't share because they want to keep their own little spots of money
eventually
making.
It's going to happen. You cannot stop the progress.
Exactly.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah. So, but what it means for us is we do have to go to other areas now. And so we're
Which is
branching
good. We're going to
out
expand.
to
We're going to see other markets. We will see other
ways of how business is done. And I've done this before because I've gone out west.
We'll get more scars. We'll learn more.
Right. I've done Nevada. I mean, I've been to tax sales in Las Vegas too, in Hendersonville, I believe. It's in Nevada as well.
We did the radio show on that one. It's actually very cool. It's the whole concept of how even the auctions itself, like the whole strategy. I mean, not strategy, but the whole, I guess, system of how they done. It's itself pretty cool to see different counties, different states.
Oh yeah, every state is different. Every state has different laws. Not just how redemptions happen, how the actual bidding process happens, and also the investors themselves bring different investment strategies to these auctions.
And even the bid of the bidding,
right?
it's pretty cool.
And different amounts of money. Obviously, some people have deeper pockets than others, and they can do more things. But how do you combine all of this? And there could be easily, lots of people at an auction, and some will focus on very specific things. Others are absolutely not interested in those properties or those ways of how to make money. They focus on something else. And there might not be any competition. There might be a lot of competition. So we just never know. We were talking the other day. There's a gentleman that came here from...
I was about to say that, the same thing. Story you told me.
He came from New York, actually, too. And he was an investment banker. He's actually here on the show, too. But he... basically came into town from nobody's seen him, nobody knows him. All of a sudden he was there and he bought everything. This was
the
years
worst
ago.
things, like the crumbs, but nobody wanted to touch.
Nobody wanted to touch these properties. Nobody could do anything with these properties. They were weird shapes, slivers, property lines that went out into the marshes where you can...
there is no road. There is
no road, or they're landlocked. Yeah, things like that I would, with my research, immediately discard, and most people would, that are interested in actually owning land or property here, improved property in Chatham County. He would buy them, and he would pay bottom prices, obviously, because nobody else was bidding against him. And I was trying to figure out, does he just not know what to look for, or is he just... stabbing around? I mean, I couldn't imagine. So that's why I invited him on my show. He was on my show before, and I believe it's Christopher. I need to look up the name. I'm very bad with names, dear listeners.
We haven't seen him lately. Hopefully he's doing good. Shout out to you too.
Yeah, he's not been around. But what he ended up doing is pretty cool. He would wait a year. Well, you have to wait a year anyways, and maybe sometimes some cases 2. And he wouldn't continue paying the taxes. He would just hold on to this property, whatever he bought, and wait till it goes back up for auction because he's not paying taxes on it. It's going to be auctioned off again. And 2-3 years down the road, all real estate prices go up, even on the stuff that's not worth anything, especially if you have more people coming to an auction that's is starting to get more popular, and people will pay more than what he paid for it.
Yeah, pretty much even if it's a minimum, but it's still bigger because due to inflation and anything.
So he wouldn't have to market, he wouldn't have to sell this property, he wouldn't have to talk to a real estate agent. He would just get rid of the property that way. Somebody else will buy it. And he is eligible to get basically
the difference.
The overage. And that's overage investing in its purest sense, basically. People do this for other people's properties too, but he did it with his own.
And you got like 10 properties, so you make yourself a profit.
Yeah, if you
keep it rolling.
Right, keep it rolling. And that's exactly what he did. And I saw him at that auction. I mentioned this several times here on the show too. I saw him at the auction and I'm like, what is he doing? And I walked up to him and I said, I know exactly what you're doing. And he's like, well, nobody else does, just you and me. So I'm like, you're a smart man. And he's like, that's how you got to play the game. You always got to have one step ahead of everybody else. And that's how you win.
That's kind of life hack up there.
Yeah. Anyways, if you didn't follow this life hack, you probably should listen to that show in the past or any of my radio shows, because I do share the secrets here and there wherever I can. And I have actually, and believe it or not, on my YouTube channel, I've shared other secrets that real estate investors that are in the deep actually do. Some of them are not very ethical or moral, but not illegal. And I've gotten a lot of flack for it. I've caught a lot of flack for it, especially from the YouTube community. There's been a couple of instances I had to take videos down because I was told that I'm promoting some illegal act, which I was not, but I'm just simply was sharing what people do with their taxes in order to evade having to pay a lot of taxes.
Well,
Evading is illegal. Avoiding is not illegal, but it's not ethical or moral. But that's what real estate
as long as it's within the law. And if you find a niche good for you,
yes,
but
exactly.
we're not promoting
and we're talking about these niches. This is the stuff that I live for. I look for these things, whether or not I do it, I'm not going to share that here on the show, obviously.
But you can call us.
I can. Well, I'm not going to say that I do, simply because I don't have the funds that most real investors have to go around doing these things. I play on the very bottom, like I'm a bottom feeder of the bottom feeders, basically. That's what I was called, by the way, one time by one of the attorneys. You're the bottom feeder of the bottom feeders. I was like, well, if you...
And that's from the lawyer.
That's from the lawyer. Nice. So, I don't have the funds to evade a lot of taxes because I don't make a lot of money to begin with. So, anyways, but that's...
They have a green card to hell. Okay, right.
Right. So, if anybody ever audits me, go for it. I have nothing to hide. But for those of you out there that, want to figure out how to save on capital gains taxes and how to avoid having to pay more than you owe the government, I guess that's the way I should word it.
Avoid the headache and sleepless nights.
There's a lot of tips on that, yes. Yeah. And of course, here on the show, we share some. Also on my YouTube channel, there's a lot of videos and my audiobooks and stuff. But, we're not promoting anything here. All of this is for informational purposes. Obviously, this show is my passion project. So we're volunteers here at the station, and this show is free to watch on the WRUU.org website as well as YouTube. So whenever I do catch up, posting all the old shows, you'll have a complete picture of my life's work, basically. Yeah,
we've been traveling a lot. We apologize for the not editing, but we're going to be almost the whole summer here because we're going to finish our project. So it's going to be more information coming your way.
Right. Right. And so, and of course, this project has already experienced a fired contractor who wasn't really fired by me. He kind of excused himself. He didn't want to finish the work, but he still wanted to get paid. And I didn't do that. So that was the end of our working relationship. And that's definitely a trend. That's another thing that we want to bring to your attention if you're looking to remodel. And definitely do look to hire a bigger company, a more established construction company, general contractor that has some backbone that can prove to you that they can deliver on the projects that they promise. Very much be scrutinizing any kind of budget plans. Make sure you get a timeline of completion right into your contracts also, that if that timeline is not completed, that you will have some sort of recourse to get monies paid to you.
Invest in a recording app, email app,
I don't want to have to recommend this, but in most cases, if you have
well,
the
I mean,
proof,
it's in everything lately. It's just like you cannot prove anything unless you like you still trust. Like I'm trusting even what happened to our truck or anything like that. You like, hey, like we talked to you on like June 9th, and you call back and they're like, no, I never talked to you about June 9th. And you're like,
for an appointment,
for appointment, you're like, what? It happened with the eye doctor. It was everything. It's almost you got to double check and follow up. And also, as you said about the big companies, yes, the you get what you paid for, but at the same time, get your hands dirty. Start learning. I start learning stuff. I just recently did learn siding, some of the plumbing,
repair. Yeah. So we had shows here on the septic tank. We had no clue about septic
tank, air condition. I mean, if you have some kind of even though if you don't want to, but you cannot find anybody, not even like if you're ready to pay money.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Painting. I can do painting, and I'm literally have been changing light bulb kind of person. That's all I know how to do. But now I'm painting because I can't find anybody to paint.
And
how hard can it be?
And we had the do show like I did the plumbing. I actually dig the whole house, like saved the reservation for us. It was crazy.
And you have to just get used to scrutinize everything. Water bills arrive for $200 on a house where the water isn't even turned on. I mean, just gotta question these things. It's very it's the Wild West, and it's getting wilder out there in the world of running a business in this country, especially if you're a small business. I believe it's becoming wilder and crazier and nuttier out there. It's not getting any easier.
No.
So this is also kind of the reason, unfortunately, that all of our prices go up, partially due to other reasons as well. But it's just hard to find anybody that knows how to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
People don't. So the more you learn, the better off you'll be.
You will live, will learn.
That's right.
I guess that's a word of the day. That's right. What I was looking for.
Right. And that kind of brings us to the end of our show. It's a little bit of a venting show, I guess, a little bit music show, a little bit of where we are show. We have another announcement. I'm going to play some music, and I will say goodbye to you in just a few moments. So please stay on. Don't go anywhere. And of course, any donation that you make today or any time, we very much appreciate. So you were listening to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. I just want to briefly tell you our show is on Wednesdays at noon. All past shows you can listen to on my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Julia M. Spencer. Also, they are right here if you're listening online on the WRUU.org website. Just go to archives, go to Wednesday, go to the noon time slot, and then click on archives. And it should be, the shows should be there to listen to. And we will close this show with just one last song. Wanted to thank you for hanging out with us for an hour and listening to us. Make sure you go outside. It's beautiful out there, beautiful. There's hardly no bugs yet. And we just had an amazing lunch here at the Fox and Fig, shout out. That's just down the street here from the studio. This is a live show today. We're broadcasting live from downtown Savannah near Troop Square. So when we are in town, we always try to be live. So hopefully you enjoyed our talk and crosstalk, I should say.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I wanted to let you know that the viewpoints expressed in the preceding program are not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. Thank you so much, Savannah. You're listening to WRULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. Now you can do it. Go ahead.
Let's stay classy, Savannah, of course. Go outside, enjoy yourself, get some lunch in the squares, in the
Happy
park.
week, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.